com.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. The jobs report for the month just ended came in this morning about a third weaker than expected, with just 104,000 more people on payrolls. And quite significantly, the job numbers for the 2 months prior were revised to nearly nothing. For instance, a month ago we were told 147,000 jobs were created. Now it's oops, the actual number was just 14,000. Economist Julia Coronado of Macro Policy Perspectives joins us now from Austin. Also kind of stunned by those revisions, Julia?
Yes, I have never seen 258,000 jobs be revised away in a single report. This is pretty unprecedented.
Remember, the narrative was, oh no, the great American jobs machine is still grinding things out despite tariffs and despite all the uncertainty that CEOs are telling us about. That's not true.
That's not true. We are holding into positive territory still, but barely. And the revisions look like they were pretty broad-based across manufacturing, service sectors, government jobs. So really the whole job complex is slowing down.
All right. Now, we also got the unemployment rate ticked up just slightly in the wrong direction to 4.2%. That's still pretty low.
Yes, that's still a historically low jobless rate, and it speaks to the fact that part of the story here is slowing labor supply. Immigration was a big job creation engine over the last 3 years, and without new workers, well, there's not a lot of people to fill new jobs. So some of this is a structural slowdown.
All right. Economist Julia Coronado is also a professor at the University of Texas, Austin. Thank you very much. The Trump administration is saying that it's about trading away some efficiency in commerce for a new trade system that is, quote, fair and balanced. Mentioned less often is that tariffs are also about raising taxes to fund government spending. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer is here with the new tariff regime today.
There are some new deals, but not yet with Canada or Mexico. Mexico was given a reprieve, a 90-day extension. Canada, though, faces a new 35% rate that starts today. There's an exception for products that comply with the United States-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney, though, says other Canadian exports are covered by separate tariffs on goods, like steel, lumber, and cars. Products from Taiwan get a 20% tariff. The tariff for India is 25%. The U.S. and China are still talking, with the next deadline in 12 days. I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer for Marketplace.
With the tariffs and the job surprise, S&P futures are down 1%. Dow futures are down 400 points, 0.9%. NASDAQ futures are down 1.1%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Viking, exploring the world in comfort. With a fleet of small ships, Viking offers travel experiences for the thinking person. Discover more at Viking.com. And by Mercury. Mercury offers banking and financial software to help businesses do more in one place. Learn more at Mercury.com.
If the stock market today is not your cup of tea, the high-end art market is not a happier place. But there's a difference between fine art and the art market. Money isn't everything. Let's consult art critic Blake Gopnik, a regular contributor to the New York Times. Blake, welcome back.
Always a pleasure to be on the show, David.
Where are we these months later? High-end art market is still a mess?
Yeah, it seems as though it's even bigger mess than usual. In 2024, auction sales for works over $10 million, and those are some pretty valuable works, were apparently down 44%. There were 44% fewer sales of those high-end objects, according to the Wall Street Journal at least, than there had been the previous year. So that trophy inventory isn't moving, even at the art fairs where you expect to move that kind of stuff. And it's worth pointing out that in the decade or so before, those same works had gone up 700%. So after this insane climb, there was this insane tumble.
Okay, hit me with your radical claim, Blake.
Well, I think that when those kind of big ticket paintings are put up for sale, they're actually not works of art at all. So that, of course, that's what the buyers are looking to buy. I think they've become purely financial objects. They're a different kind of object altogether. And I have to admit, I'm riffing here on some work by a Berkeley philosopher named Alvin Noe, that in fact, objects are only art when we use them as art, when we admire their aesthetics, or we think about what they mean, or we argue about whether they're good or bad. That's when they're works of art. If you use it as a financial instrument, if you use it as an investment, it's not functioning as art. You could say the Mona Lisa barely functions as art anymore because 99% of the time, it's just background for a selfie. And that's true also of when works of art are just financial instruments.
All right, so to pick up on that theme, you and I can workshop a New Yorker cartoon together, right? It's sort of like the fancy pants person invites his guest into his nice salon to show him, framed on the wall, objects that he says, "May I show you my collection of stores of value?" Right? That's what you're saying.
Exactly. And of course, that relates to my hero, Andy Warhol, who actually presented silkscreen paintings of dollar signs as works of art. And that's, of course, the comment that he was making.
Yeah, and the more you think about, let's say, a painting or a sculpture as a store of value, then other investment vehicles compete for your dollars. In other words, oh, I'm not interested in that art store of value. I might be interested in putting my money into bonds because interest rates stayed higher.
Exactly. And, investing in art is the weirdest darn thing because it has no obvious value. I mean, we've said this before on the show. It's just a bunch of oil paint on a piece of canvas. So it's completely arbitrary what it's worth. But in theory, at least, it's supposed to be worth something because it matters to the culture as art. And if things are getting in the way of that, then its investment value should drop as well. So there are all sorts of factors that are helping, thank God, the art market tumble.
Art critic Blake Gopnik, his most recent book is a biography of the Philadelphia collector Albert Barnes. Blake, always good to catch up.
A treat, David.
Let me correct that headline jobs figure. While 104,000 more jobs were expected last month, the number out this hour is that only 73,000 jobs were created in July. It's Marketplace Morning Report from APM, American Public Media.